So full-time real estate investor. Bobby's actually one of our students. He's one of our mentees who signed up 3.5 months ago. And how has your life changed since you signed up?
I'm living it. And that's been like one of the biggest, I guess, blessings you could say, because of the realization and accepting it and just embracing the moment.
What is up? We are back with another episode. My name is Chris Silva. If this is your first time here, make sure to click the like button. Make sure you subscribe and click the little bell on the side to get notified every time we post on this channel. On this channel, I'm going to be bringing you exclusive content, real estate related, business related, and journey related. I think a lot of the times people don't understand what the journey consists of. And today I have a special guest by the name of Mr. Bobby Hernandez Diggity Dig. What's up, Bobby?
What's up, man?
How are you?
Amazing.
He's amazing.
I'm feeling amazing, brother.
That's good, bro. That's good. That's good. So, Bobby, I know you and I go back probably, I want to say, for the past 15 years, I would say, maybe 12 to 15.
Yeah.
What do you think, that I've known you?
Yeah. Met you before I met my wife.
That's right.
It's crazy.
We're just talking. We're just chatting about that.
Right.
We're just chopping that up right now. So I know you started in, you want to introduce yourself and what you do now and what you're doing and what your goals are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in real estate investing, that's what I'm doing now. I'm a legit real estate investor. And it was hard to believe that or to take that in when I first started on this journey, but it's become a reality now. And it doesn't feel like it's been that long, because it honestly hasn't been 3.5 months, but I'm living it. And that's been like one of the biggest, I guess, blessings you could say, because of the realization and accepting it and just embracing the moment. So, I mean, that's what I do now. That's exactly what I do now.
So full-time real estate investor, 1%er up in this building. Bobby's actually one of our students. He's one of our mentees who signed up 3.5 months ago, you said?
Yeah.
3.5 months ago. And how has your life changed since you signed up?
It's changed in a lot of different ways, different aspects, just how I visualize everything. The positive reinforcement of, you become what you consume. That's it. That's everything right there. How I just approach everything, the conversations that I have, to just, how I treat my own family, my inner circle, my girls, everything. And it's for the good. And I'm, just focusing on bettering myself. And it comes back to that, scaling 1% better every day. It's literally just that. When you hear that from the outside looking in, when you first get started, you don't really grasp it. It's just like you have to experience it yourself. So now that I'm living it, that's why I feel amazing.
Every day you're growing. Every day you're growing. So let me ask you this what was the life like now that you're grown? You're going into this real estate journey. You're going into this like investment world. You're going into like this, I want to change my family's life. You have 2 daughters, you're married, you have your wife. And now it's just like, you want to grow your life to build generational wealth and build financial freedom. But what was the life like of Bobby Hernandez Diggity Dig, like growing up? Let's go back to when I first met you. Like, what was your lifestyle then, as far as everything, who you were and who you're becoming and who you are right now, who you were back then?
Well, the type of person that I am, I've always focused on the positive. Nobody's life is perfect. Nobody grows up with, everything they want to have. A lot of people lack in different areas. And for me, the blessings that I count are just family. Like my family's very close growing up. We grew up on a ranch, and, my cousins were like my brothers. And even to this day, I could pick up a conversation with them, like even if we haven't talked in years, and we click, right? So family grew up very, very tight. So we were very rich in that aspect. And till this day, I'm very thankful for that, because not everybody has that, and I've learned through other relationships, other friends that, they lack a lot of that. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But coming back to, we didn't have all the, we didn't, I look back now and I'm like, my parents made it happen for us. We didn't have money like crazy. We didn't eat fast food. We maybe ate Little Caesars once every 3 months. And this is like the old school Little Caesars, the where they cut it in squares, and
Dude.
that was a treat. But we would eat homemade food every day. We didn't complain. There wasn't like kids nowadays. I call them chicken nugget kids. No, I want some chicken nuggets,
Bro.
right? Whatever. But yeah, dude, we grew up outside. We drank water hose water. Grandpa Nico. It's just he would have us working whenever. We were on our summer vacations. I would try to get away, and it was just it's a very different upbringing from where I come from. But fast forward to teenage years and fast forward to the influence and I have to be thankful for my example, which is my brother. My brother's my example, and he has a good head on his shoulders, and very successful in what he does now. He's active duty military, so thanks to him for that, for making that sacrifice. I joined the military myself. I got out, but at the end of the day, how I feel now and my headspace and just the way I see things now. And it has nothing to do with my age. Before I would use that as an excuse, like, oh, you compare yourself to other people. You compare yourself to other people that are your age and what they're doing and social media, right? Everything is perfect on social media, but nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. So I was living the life of what I feel like was a passenger. That's the best way I can describe it,
Let's go into detail with that. Give me, how do you feel? You were living life like you were in passenger. Wow.
Well, the thing is and this is speaking for myself, right? Everybody has their own story, but in my early 20s or even late teens, right from wrong, right? Whether you grow up without a dad, whether you grow up without a mom, whether you face your adversities in your own different ways, whether if it's, any kind of whatever trials and tribulations you go through, eventually there comes a point in time in your life where you got to just grow up, right? You got to own up to whatever it is that you want to do. And if you have a family, you got to step up and provide for them, right? And I was making excuses for myself. I'll be the first one to say, I was lazy. I still battle with that today where I'm not trying to get off my ass or whatever. And I got to make moves. So I was very, very lazy, bro. And, I'll never forget this. When I was working at Verizon, because I worked at Verizon for, I would say 8 years.
8 years,
8
bro.
years.
8 years.
And I loved the job. But I wasn't in control. I felt like I was, but not even close to it, right? So, and it's okay, right? Everybody has their aha moment, but we had this training and with managers where you had to put your big boy pants on, and everybody took a turn criticizing one individual, letting them know what it is that they need to do better.
Oh, shoot. That's a great exercise.
Oh, yeah, dude. Our leader, shout out to Mauro. That was the guy that I looked up to even to this day. I look up to him in a lot of different ways. And he's the one that, brought that training upon us. And it was like, hey, guys, we're going to have a training where we're all going to criticize, constructive criticism. And, some people don't know how to handle that kind of stuff, right? Some people can, they get defensive. And, I'll give Duty a shout out. His name is Duty, one of the managers back then. And he was the one that told me, he's like, Bobby, you can talk good, you got this, you got that, but you're lazy, bro. It's like, you're lazy, dude. That stuck with me till this day. That stuck with me. And I was like, damn, nobody besides my own family, my brother or whatever, because that brotherly love is always going to be there. But for him to call me out like that, it was like, damn, that was fuck that. I'm not lazy, you know what I'm saying? Hell no. But I knew I was, and I knew I had to get better at it. So it was just okay, what I got to do to grow from that, right? But that stayed in my head. And then I got into the construction world. And it was then where I grew and learned hard work ethic, and it was a whole different environment. Learning how a house is built from the ground up and all the thousands of steps and the accountability and the responsibility. It helped me grow in that aspect where being lazy wasn't an option. But again, I was still a passenger. You know what I mean? I was on someone else's time, or I thought I was. I thought I was on someone else's time, and I need to, I had to be there at a certain time. I had to, get there at a certain time, leave at a certain time, and there was always somebody to report to, right? To me, now I look back at it as a passenger lifestyle, because the whole time, and yes, it's not really taught to you. It's not taught to you. You don't have to be a passenger. It's like you literally just got to get out of the car, walk around, and get in the driver's seat. And that's it. So now I feel like I'm in the driver's seat. And it hasn't been easy, but it's just, the things that we talk about all the time, on the calls, it's taking action. And so for me, it's been an awesome experience, to say the least, embracing the struggle, embracing the process, and I'm still doing it, and the aha moment for me was when I realized that there wasn't a destination that I was going to get to. I felt like, one day I'm going to get there. One day I'm going to get that house, or one day I'm going to get that car. And I feel like everybody shares that mentality where they're like, one day. It's like, why not now? Like, what are you doing now to get there? But we wake up every day and go to work, eat bad. You know what I'm saying? Like all the little bullshit that you get distracted with. But
instant gratification.
Exactly.
I think a lot has to do with getting comfortable. So like you were at Verizon for 8 years. I actually remember when you started at Verizon. I want to say that's when we first, like that job was in the time that we knew each other. I'm trying to remember what phone had just come out, and you were such a big Android guy.
Well, it's when the Droid actually came out. This was before the iPhone.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Motorola Droid.
Oh shoot. Okay, so Verizon, 8 years to construction. I mean, those are two different industries. Going back to a comment that you said right now was about Verizon, you felt like you were in control. You were a manager there. And I guess as a manager, and correct me if I'm wrong, you felt like, I'm the boss. But you show up, you have to be on time. You have to open the store. You have to close the store. You have to so did you ever realize, did you ever feel like, oh yeah, I'm the boss, but you were still in the passenger side while you were there?
I think that for Verizon, it was more of timing, I wasn't mature enough to, as a manager, right? Because there's great managers that even to this day that are at Verizon, and they're happy and they're loving their life, and power to them. If you're passionate about what you're doing and you love it, then by all means do you. But for me, the timing wasn't right. I felt because I was just I felt like I wasn't happy. I felt like I was running in mud, treading in mud, getting nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were on the treadmill.
Exactly. Where as a manager, you own your store, you want to be there, you don't want to leave. You take so much pride and ownership in it being your store because it's a reflection of you, right? So everybody that takes pride in whatever they do, they don't want to leave whatever it is that they're building. They want to be there, like you, how you're here. But with me, I didn't want to be there. So that was the red flag all along, right? So, but then again, it was like, why wasn't I taking control of it? Why was I still there? And you hear it all the time where you're like, if there's ever a time where you don't want to be somewhere, then leave. It's that simple, but you feel like you're chained. Like if you can't break free, and it's like, why not? And it's like, well, I don't know why not. So then I think that comes with maturity. I think that comes with having the right influence and being in the right circle. And again, now coming back to that, who was I surrounding myself with? What were my extracurricular activities? What mindset that the people I had around me, what kind of influence was it? I was trying to party every weekend, have a great time. Those are my goals. I'm looking forward to this weekend. For what? So we can have a beer pong tournament or something silly like that.
Beer pong tournament.
Yeah. So it was just a different circle. It was a different time. And I look back at it now, and then you hear it all the time. Like, man, if I could have started this in my early 20s, Like Drew, freaking Drew, making it happen. He's cut from a different cloth, so props to him. But he's getting in the room. He's taking action. So
let's go back to, from Verizon, 8 years to construction. How was that leap? Like 8 years and you have your store. I'm pretty sure you're getting influenced by everybody around. Like, what made you make that jump?
So I felt like being in a store, in these four walls, coming from just always using my hands. I feel like I was blessed with natural athleticism, not trying to sound cocky or anything, but, when it comes to sports or hand-eye coordination, like I excel in that. It doesn't matter what sport it is, but I felt like my body was going to waste, just being there, I was like, I want to do something physical. I want to learn, and I've always been attracted to, not just necessarily construction, like construction for sure because it's interesting, but you can use the skills as a store manager talking to people because now you're coordinating subcontractors, you're scheduling things, you have to have great communication skills. And I felt like I could build a career in that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And well, yeah, that's what made me want to make that. That's what made me want to make that leap because I was like, I got to get out of here. And sure enough, it ended up happening that way.
So where did you find this job? Like, I think you were living in San Antonio at the time or not yet?
Yeah, so I was in sales. So actually, I was able to work at Classic American as a foreman there. It was more like a foreman in training. And then from Classic, I moved to San Antonio. But, I got a taste of the construction world. It was nice. However, for me, it's like the pay on return wasn't really like what I wanted it to be.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just I don't know. And again, back in the day, this was years ago, bro. It was like 6-7 years ago. Yeah. So just to kind of sum it up, it was Verizon, construction at Classic, which I learned a lot. That's where, this senior foreman took me under his wing, dude. And I still have a good relationship with him today. Like we'll catch up every once in a while, but this dude would give me a hard time, man. And he gave me so many nicknames, like hilarious nicknames. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And from there, we moved to San Antonio. Me and my wife, we've always wanted to go to San Antonio, and it's something that I still plan on, actually. It's a goal that I have to make it back out there, to be honest. Love San Antonio, especially because that's where we want to, raise the girls. Nothing against El Paso. We love home. But there's just more for us to do with them there, lakes. I'm very outdoorsy. So lakes and just opportunity and work, that's what my train of thought was back then. So when I went out there, I went back to sales. So from construction, I applied construction. I wasn't getting any bites, so I was like, I got to jump onto what it is that I know that I can deliver on, right, immediately. So it was sales. So it was like car sales initially, did really well, loved the car dealership world. That was awesome. It's, locker room talk, the environment was different. But I saw this, I forgot where I saw it, but it was like pretty much a builder's rep for a big company out there, Lennar Corporation, and it was real estate. And real estate has always gotten my attention. I was like, you know what, sales, construction, you put it together, that's an agent, right? Mm-hmm. Before I knew this. So I told my manager at the car dealership, because it was going well there, it was going really well. But long hours again, you're on someone else's time, right? You're not really on your own time. And I told him, like, hey man, I'm gonna end up going over here. And he's like, why do you want to join real estate market? Don't you think it's saturated? And I was like, what do you mean saturated? He's like, yeah, dude, there's an agent on every corner. I was like, yeah, but I'm not. Like, I'm not on every corner. Like that's the difference, right? That was me,
Yeah.
He's just like, all right, Bobby. No, it's all good. But I did that. I went into, the training as a builder's rep, and it went well too. It was really good. This was right before COVID hit. And then COVID hit, and they just literally laid off half of the workforce for that company. And I fortunately now, I guess it all played out for the way it's supposed to. I was one of those, dude, and I was really upset because I was like, heck no, like, look at my numbers. How are you going to let me go? But it was not something I had a choice. But I got a taste I got a taste of real estate sales, and it comes back to, identifying clients' goals, right? Sellers' goals, buyers' goals, and just building a relationship with them and them entrusting me. So it worked out.
I'm gonna steer off real quick to them laying off. So let's think about this now that you're in this world and understanding what happened in that moment for a builder, that they had to lay off people. But for COVID, that was one of the best times for people to buy houses. Interest rates hit an all-time low. Why do you think the builder laid off people?
Initially, I thought because nobody knew what was really going on, right? Everybody was scared. And with a big company like that, they were losing money. Because it was, again, maybe it might be the instant thing, right? But this is a massive nationwide company where they have tons of builders reps, right? And they're actually earning a draw, right? So then they have to make up for it with their sales, So then I think it was more of a business move on them not seeing the results because nobody was going outside. They even made it an option where if you didn't want to work, if you don't want to go to work, you don't have to go to work. Because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
So then I think for them, it was more like they didn't want to lose money, and that's how they felt like they were gonna. Or maybe they were losing money. So, but then again, you wait, and then next thing you know, it starts booming, right? It starts booming like crazy, but nobody could foresee that.
And see, I think that's what happened. Let me ask you: is the builder still around? Are they still building?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still building. So I feel like thinking about that, it's just like the people that really won in the building world, and I feel like all the builders won because they were able to maximize everything that they did, raising their prices 20%, 30%, like whatever it was that they were maximizing on this. Builders were maximizing during COVID. But a lot of builders, I feel, started slowing down on building. You remember that's when materials started skyrocketing?
Oh, yeah.
So for them, I feel like a lot of builders pulled back. Wait a minute. Let's see how this plays out. And the builders that continued to build were the ones that literally won. And I'm not saying these builders didn't win, but these guys maximized because they never missed on their production, because when interest rates started coming back down, they had houses ready to move in. And the builders that stopped building were like, oh shit, people are still buying. Let's go build. But they're 6, 8, 9, 10 months behind when they could have been on track. So then a year later, 2 years later, the builders that stopped building, all of a sudden they want to start building again. So that means everybody started building at the same time. So going through that's what I'm thinking, like the job layoffs. And of course, everybody, I remember that time, nobody knew what was going to happen. Right. We've never seen something like this. Yeah, we saw, 2008, something completely different. 2001, Twin Towers, something completely different. However, COVID, this is something that's spreading around craziness. So I feel like a lot of people, and that's what happened. You got laid off. They're like, we're going to cut our jobs. And I think in today's world, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more job layoffs now because of the cost of everything now. But I guess for me, it was just like wondering, like, what was their instinct? Let's get rid of them. This crisis is coming. We don't know how long we're going to be locked down for. So they let you go. What was your next move? What was your, going through your thoughts, bro?
It was, you think about the family, right? You think about being a supporter. My wife's a nurse, and we had just had the baby.
Ooh.
Alice was born May 2020. So it was like, damn. Again, nobody really knew what was going on with COVID. It's not like it's fake, right? It's a real thing. So, of course, the last thing you want is to bring that home to a newborn. So it was scary, man. It was scary, but it was also like, well, we just can't sit still, stagnant, and not move. And I look back at it now, and part of me feels, I mean, I know I could have stayed and roughed it out. I know I could have stayed and roughed it out, and it probably would have, you know, we would have been established out in San Antonio, you know, fast forward 3 years later. But we decided as a team, me and my wife, to come back home. We came back home, and I was able to get a job with Bella Vista Custom Homes, which was another experience in itself as a foreman, which was awesome. And that's where I started to learn my true value. You know, I started to learn, you know, at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. You know, the type of value you bring to the table, and recognizing what it is that your self-worth, you know, and nothing but respect to, you know, Mr. Garcia Edgar and everybody there. Like I love those guys. They're good people, and I have nothing bad to say about them. But it just, at the time also, I felt like it wasn't the right time, right? It wasn't the right time. And, you know, it didn't work out. I got back into sales, and then I was like, you know, I was able to network with some people back home because of my experience out there in San Antonio. I was like, I got to get back into the real estate game. You know, I went back into construction, and again, we get trapped in this, oh, how old am I? I'm like, and I gotta be doing something way more productive than what I'm doing now, you know? And so then I was like, you know what, I gotta get back into what's worked for me. And I went back into sales. So then I started networking, and I started, you know, dabbling here and there with, what is it called? Flipping houses, wholesaling, right? It was a wholesaling type thing, but it was very inconsistent. You know, it wasn't structured. It was kind of like almost where there wasn't accountability. You know what I mean? You're just kind of on your own. And it just, there was no results. And coming back to instant gratification, right? It's like, man, I wanted to work now, and it's not working out. But again, who was in my circle? What was I doing? You know what I mean? Definition of insanity. You want different results, but you're doing the same shit. So then that's when I was like, I was able to get a good job, right? In sales for windows and doors and bathroom remodels. It eventually evolved to that, and it evolved to stucco work, and it evolved to stone work, and to like everything, like to a point where I could walk into a house and I'm there for a window appointment, but my goal is to remodel this whole house. And I was getting really good at it, really good at it. And I did really well. It was the most money I ever made, to the point where it would make no sense to leave. But I was working for someone else. One day to the next, the company filed for bankruptcy.
Oh, shit.
And I'm over here, number one rep in the company. Mind you, okay, this isn't just El Paso. Like, this is Albuquerque, this is Phoenix, Houston, San Antonio. And I'm doing my thing, bro. And I'm just, you know, it's just crazy. It feels surreal. It felt nice to have some kind of like financial gap, right, between my wife and I. And we're talking about it, and it feels nice. And it's just like, just the tip though, just the beginning. And it was like, well, where are we going to go from here? But when that happened, it was like, do we hit the panic button? Like, what do we do? So, but the conversation I had with her at that time was, man, like, I can stick in this industry. I already have like about, honestly, 3 different routes I can go and specific to companies that are, you know, they hit me up. And I was just like, I'm going to have to transition for sure for right now, but I don't want to have to worry about this. And I honestly don't see myself doing this for the next 3-5 years. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's something bigger for me, but I want something more secure. I want to be able to build generational wealth. I want to learn how to invest, because that's what I want. And I've always wanted that, but I just never took action on it. So I see you all the time. I see you on social media. You know, that's where fast forward to 3.5 months ago. And I'm thinking, I got to get my license. I was a buyer's agent before, or a buyer's rep. And I see a really good friend of mine who's doing good, you know, another good friend of mine who's doing good. And they're in the real estate world, but they're agents, right? They're licensed agents. And I reach out to them because I can, but for me, I don't know if it's just, I can't stay focused on a computer. Like I have to be in person. And I've already tried, and dude, I cannot complete an online course. It's tough for me. I need medication or something. So then I reached out to a buddy of mine who took a in-person class, and he's doing really well. And he's just like, yeah, bro, go over here, do it. And I was like, all right. Right before I do that, dude, I was literally about to get in the car and go over there. I was like, let me just message Chris and see, because he's just scaling and I see you doing good and I don't know exactly what you're doing. I have a clue. I know it involves, real estate. I know it involves, you keep saying invest, you keep saying sub 2 and all these terms that I'm not too familiar with, but I want to know what it really is. You know what I'm saying? So, and why isn't everybody else doing it? Right? Mm-hmm. So I messaged you, and I was actually really particular about the message I sent you. So
how long did it take you to write the message?
Like 4 minutes.
You processed.
I took my time on that message I sent you. And I changed it like 4 times, but I was like, you know what? I need to get his attention because this dude seems super busy. And it's just, if I don't get his attention, then it's not going to make a difference. So I told you, I was like, yo, Chris, what's up, bro? I'm thinking of getting my license. What do you recommend? Where do you recommend I start to begin my investment journey? Like that, right? I was like, I got to use these words to to squirrel him over here like this. Like, oh, wait, he said investment or whatever. That was my train of thought. And you responded. You did respond. You're like, bro, you don't need a license to buy real estate or to invest in real estate. Those are your exact words. And I was like, well, what's up? Let's meet up. He's like, you said, I'm going to have somebody call you. And that's when David called me. And David was somebody I was working with in wholesaling before, but that was a different David. It was a different David. So when he called me, I was like, what? Like, you're with Chris? He's like, dude, night and day 180. That was his first word. It's a complete 180, night and day. And you got to come in, bro. He's like, when can you come? I was like, I can come now. I got time on my hands. He's like, okay. And then the rest is history, man. The rest is like where we're at now.
So you were getting ready to leave to go take your tests. Like you were going to go to the real estate academy. I'm assuming that's where you were headed.
Yeah.
Why real estate? Like you were already in it, but when you were thinking about investing and stuff like that, like why real estate? And you're talking about no action. And I want like the audience to see like the people that understand the no action part. How did you come to realization, like I'm not taking action, but I know I got to do this, but I'm not doing it?
I feel like I've realized that more now than I did when I started. Because when I started, it was more just a conversation. And, when your back's pushed up against the wall, like when the company filed for bankruptcy, and then it was like, okay, what I got to do now? I'm always, I got to provide for the family, right? Even though my wife works, it's just, we can't live just off of her income. And we can, but we need to work on how we can do that. We don't want to just settle for that. We got bigger plans for us. So then when my back's against the wall and coming to taking action, I realize it now, but at the time I didn't realize the magnitude of me just reaching out to you as taking action. Reaching out to just anybody, having a conversation with just any person is taking action. Right? Mm-hmm. But now that we fast forward 3.5 months later, it's getting out of the comfort zone, right? The choices we make every day on just getting out of bed, making your bed, eating the right food, going to the gym, or watching a show, sitting down for 3 hours, binge watching a show, like all those little things have a big time like snowball effect on everything. Right? So then when I took action and reached out to you, and then David reached out to me, I was like, this is starting to happen. Right? Mm-hmm. But it was just the beginning. And I chose real estate. It was between this and insurance, by the way.
Insurance.
It was between the insurance industry and real estate. And the reason why it was those two was because I want to build something that I know that I can take care of my family with. That I know for a fact that it's going to build generational wealth, right? And that was the main reason. But I just didn't know enough of it. So I just had to get in the room.
Okay, so now I wanna jump back to the time where you're sending this message. You obviously see me on social media, and I think a big thing that a lot of people reach out to me, but I feel like a lot of people aren't serious when they reach out to me. They think it's like it's gonna happen, and people get caught up on this instant gratification. And what I've learned and what I've come to the conclusion of people, if you want it, you're really gonna want it. I'm going to have someone reach out to you, and if you want it, you're going to go to what's next. What's next? And I think this is something that you're learning to value your time, because it's something as big as watching a movie, spending 2 hours watching a movie. In those 2 hours, how many people can you talk to? In those 2 hours, how much can your life change? Showing up here in these 2 hours, how much can this change your life forever? It's action taking. A lot of people don't understand that. So you send this message. I get you on the phone with David. David reaches out to you. You come to the office, I believe, in the morning. You sit in a morning meeting. You see our team's morning meeting. What's next for you? What's going through your head?
I'm all about body language, vibes. To me, that is way more important than what you're actually saying.
Energy.
Yeah, energy, 1,000%. So the energy in the environment from when I first walked in just felt right. It almost was like if it was staged. It was like, why is everybody so nice right now? And I love that though. I'm big on customer experience, when we go out to eat or just anything. I like people being genuinely nice. The expression you wear on your face is so much more important than the clothes you wear. It's so much more important from, your smile being worth $1 million minimum. Right?
Why so little?
It's just, that's a lot for some people,
Absolutely.
So with that being said, it's just the energy was it's like, did you tell them I was coming? Hey, everybody, make sure you smile for Bobby. That's what I was thinking. But that was just that was the culture. And that's what I realized, is that you built this culture where that's what it is, and it's like, if you're having a bad day, coming back to where if you don't like where you're at, then you don't have to be there ever. But everybody wanted to be there. And it's like, cool. That's something that I want to be a part of. But I'm not even coming for the culture. I'm coming to learn. And, putting myself back into those shoes where you're asking me instant gratification, right? Everybody's like, I was like that too, You think the old school traditional sales guy, I was that guy. And I know a lot of people who are still in that world where they're chasing a paycheck. They're chasing the dollar. And you hear it all the time. It's like, you don't have to chase money. And for me, that was one of the biggest growths I've had in this process. In the what I feel like is a transformation of mindset, is that I'm no longer chasing money. I really am not. I'm chasing relationships. I'm chasing people that I can connect with that are going to help me grow, and the money's going to come on its own. And it is. It's already starting. So I love it. I love it. And then, when I say hi to somebody now and they're like, how are you feeling? And it's the amazing response. I don't say it all the time, but I say it often, where it's like, oh shit, they look at you different. Like, what's up with you? It's just, for one, I always say my girls are healthy. My girls are healthy. I can't complain. They're healthy. And, there's a lot of kids that aren't healthy out there, and I can't even fathom that. You know what I mean? But it's good, man. It's overall good vibes, good energy. And, walking into the first day, it was just like, I need to come back. And it's like, I'm not into drugs, I don't do that, but it's like a natural high. It's a natural drug. And I see you and I'm like, this dude's gotta be on something. What is it? You can't wake up like that every day. What energy drink do you take? Pre-workout? Do you freaking, eat a dry pre-workout right when you wake up? But no, and you're just high on the process. You're high on living in the moment. And now I'm taking it, and I see it through my family, dude, my inner circle. Like not just my wife, but like, you know, my parents, my brother, my sister, anybody in our close circle, like, you know, certain tios and tias that are in my life where they're just like, but what I love is that they support it, you know, and it's okay for some of those that don't. And it was also hard for me to accept that at first. I was trying to convince everybody.
Let's talk about that real quick, because I think that's very important for a lot of people to understand. Like the naysayers, the people are like, what do you think you're on? What do you think? Like, what do you think you're all that? Like, how did you take that at first?
At first, it was more like trying to convince them, you know, and even using that word, right? Try to convince them. I want to bring everybody with me. Like, I'm here to save the world. I'm going to put a cape on. You know, and it was like, I got you guys. Like, I'm never going to forget where I come from. And I don't, you know, I'll stay true to myself forever. But I wanted to bring people with me. And what I realized was that the truth is nobody's going to come save me. Nobody came to save me, right? Nobody came to save you. Nobody comes to save anybody. And you hear that all the time where it's like everybody's waiting for somebody to save them. And I'm trying to save them, but why? Why am I trying to save them? Because that's just who I am genuinely. I get that. And I'm starting to realize that. And I'm like, but I can't convince somebody who doesn't want to be a part of it, you know?
Doesn't want to be saved.
They don't want to be saved. Freaking J. Cole, bro. You know?
1,000%.
So come, it's like, and the best example, I was thinking about this yesterday on education. It's not about convincing anybody. It's just about being educated in this, right? Before I tried to convince, you got to hear me. You got to hear me. But now it's more about providing options and the value that I bring. I know the value that I bring now. I know that if somebody that I'm talking to is going to gain value from me, and I can bring value to everybody, it's going to be on them whether they want to take it or not. And the right individual is going to run with it. And we're going to win together. The other people who don't see that value, that's okay. And I have nothing against that person. I'm not going to hold anything against them. As to before, I would take that personal. I'd be like, this guy, he doesn't want to listen to me. It was hard for me to get over that because I felt like, no, I'm dude.
I'm here to save you.
Yeah,
I'm here to save you. Like, bro, listen, you can do this too. You can do this.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Listen, look, we're going to do this. And then they don't listen to you.
Exactly.
And you're like, bro, what am I like? Am I not showing you right? I think, and I tell this to all my students, I tell this to people that parents, and thankfully for you, your parents were like supportive right off the back. But for me, my parents, and I love my parents. I'm so thankful for my parents. They've supported me along my journeys through everything that I've done. But in the beginning, it was so hard to get them to believe in me. Like, come on, mom. Come on, dad. Look, I'm doing this. Oh, okay. No, you guys. No, okay. And it's just like you sit here. But then you learn, and I talk about this all the time. When you try to save people, you try to convince people, you can't convince people. You can only educate them. And then you become a magnet. Then you start attracting people that you need and that want to hear what you have to say because you know you're walking around with value. People tend to not walk around with value. They just want to take. What do you got? What are you doing? How much money you got? Where's your Ferrari? Where's your Lambo? Where's your big house? What do you got? Like instant gratification. Social media makes it so much worse nowadays. Oh, he's not posting his car. Oh, he's not posting his house. Oh, he's not posting his checks. Oh, he's not like it's instant gratification that they want to steer to. And I think when did you have that pivotal moment? Like, wait, I got to stop trying to convince people. Like, when did you accept that you couldn't convince somebody to be saved?
It was when I realized the value of my time, you know, when I realized that I could be focusing my energy on investing in myself and the people that are actually going to jump on, right? So you see somebody and it's a complete stranger that's gaining this value that's like, they're tracking, right? They're like, okay, let's go. I'm like, let's go. And I deliver. And then there's somebody who is not a stranger, I've known forever, they're not tracking, but I'm wasting my time there at this point. And I'm just like, revisiting the conversation, and then at one point, And a lot has to do with the positive reinforcement and the affirmation from the group that I surround myself with, because I'm not the only one dealing with these battles. You know, everybody deals with these battles, especially the people in the same room, right? That I'm spending a lot of time with. So I see them going through it and I'm like, that's the same thing. And then I see somebody else and I'm like, dude, why? And then you constantly, you've been there, you know, you deal with it all the time. And you're like, guys, you can't save them. The sooner you can realize that and you start realizing that you need to invest your time somewhere else, it's okay. And then not until I live it, right? Because you can hear it all day. But when you start practicing it and it starts actually going, but I'm over here delivering. I'm delivering for these other people that are actually taking advantage of the value. And then you have someone else who just isn't. And I'm just like, whoa, you know, like that's the moment that I realize it. So then I start shifting my mentality over here and I'm just staying in this lane now. I'm staying in this lane and I'm still taking all these other good, you know, good behaviors, good habits. But then next thing you know, the person I'm trying to help out, now they're reaching out to me when they're ready on their time. And I'm here for it. I'm not going to hold it against them because I care about this individual. You know, I care about them. So, and then that's another thing is that I've learned. And it's one thing to not chase the dollar coming from traditional sales. And it's another thing to sincerely care about the person that you're helping out. Before it was all about me, selfish, you know? Mm-hmm. And now actually with the examples of the deals that I've locked up and being able to sincerely help, like being able to help these people who are like, it's their lives that we're dealing with. It's a huge, huge eye opener for me. Like, it's not even about me right now. Like, I'm still going to get taken care of helping them. But is this really happening? Like, holy crap, like this whole time. And that's the natural high. That's the energy where it's like, you just want to be around that all the time. And to think that they're not the only one. There's thousands, not hundreds, and there's probably millions.
There's millions.
Yeah,
millions. There's 8 billion people in the world. That's 999 million people 8 times. Millions. And I don't think people realize how much billions.
Because people are focused on themselves, man. And that's that I think it comes down to is that everybody's worried about number one. And I know they tell you got to take care of number one before you can take care of everybody else. I get that, right? You do have to take care of yourself. And I know mentally, physically, and all that. But what you say and how you approach it, if you're not actually sincerely putting yourself in the other person's shoes when you're trying to help them, if you're just thinking about yourself, it's never going to work out.
Never, because what happens, you get stuck on you, and it's what about them? It's value for value. And I'm able to read somebody. When somebody talks to me and they're saying something, I'm already tracking. I'm reading them. It's all about you. What is it in for me? What value do you bring to me? What value? And it's about value for value, whether it's a seller, whether it's a buyer, whether it's a student, whether it's a mentee, whether it's someone that just wants to learn. And for me, one of the biggest things for me, and I think a lot of people, it's either you see it or you don't, is I genuinely care about other people's success. I genuinely sit here and I will talk to somebody that wants to be successful, that wants to put in the work, that wants to show up. I genuinely care about people, but a lot of people take that shit for granted. And it's so crazy to me, but it's not, because they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So let's go back to the energy that I bring in. I remember you the first day you told me, you're like, bro, what do you drink? What are you on? Like, what is that vibe you get from me? Like when you see, like, going back to the word amazing, now that you've used it and you experience it, like you use the word amazing and you'll see people's reaction. Like, and I remember when I first started using it, and I tell people, tell someone you're doing amazing and look at how they react. And I think everyone should use that word and start realizing, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing amazing. How are you? Oh, you're good. Oh, it's like, bro, we woke up today. We have another opportunity. Let's go back to my energy. I know I'm really aggressive. I'm really loud. But when you first showed up and you met me, we've already known each other, but you see me on social media, but now you're seeing me in person that first time. You said you wanted more. Like, what was that like? Like, what can you say about me in the sense of like my craziness and how I'm so addicted to this? Can you relate to like becoming addicted to what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. I mean, me just investing my time in this podcast. I'm taking the time to be here with you because of the value that I feel you bring. And it has a lot to do with also the value that I'm bringing to you, right? Like we're both getting something out of this 1,000%, but coming back to how I've become addicted to it and how it's just contagious. It's just like, you become what you consume. So whatever it is that you surround yourself with, whether if it's the music you listen to, the food you eat, whatever it is, you become that, like subconsciously. So ever since I got in this room, little by little, right, I would have little minor setbacks, but because I'm so continuously involved, it's like the community wouldn't let me, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, I show up every day, but I would fall off a little bit in my head. I would fall off on like, oh, I'm going to just stay up super late or, bad eating habits. And this guy's in the gym every morning. And I'm like, shit, like he's working out. And I see these things and this is my thought process, right? But coming back to you become what you consume, we start talking about reading a book. And then he starts dropping these, golden nuggies that like, hey, dude, this is a great book. This is a great book based on just the conversation we're having, right? We'll be having a conversation like, dude, read this book. Ooh, because you said that, read this book. And he sends me these books and I'm listening to them, right? Because I download the Audible and I'm driving and I don't even listen to music anymore unless I'm with the girls. I'm like driving around listening to Audibles and it's just continuous positive reinforcement. Or it's me focusing on sharpening my skills on talking to a seller, talking to an agent on how to overcome objections, how to, relay this information, how to educate them without offending them, without, hurting egos with whatever it is, or people who are stuck on thinking this stuff is illegal. And it's just like, no, it's not, right? So it's just like, I'm focusing on all this stuff. And then before you know it, like I'm saying the things you're saying. Not even trying to, but because it's the same language, but now it's rolling off the tongue naturally, and I'm not trying to say it like you, Mm-hmm. So then that obsession is real, but in a good way. And then the results are starting to follow. Before, it's like sacrifice, right? The one more mentality. You can't give up. You give up. There goes that delayed gratification, right? So it's like, stick to it. Before you know it, we're building relationships. We're now surrounding ourselves with the right people. I've met so many different people through you, and now I'm realizing, damn, I'm bringing a lot of people that he hasn't met. And it's just like, you're still my mentor, and I look up to you in a lot of different ways, but we're like business partners now in a lot of different ways, and it's awesome, and that's part of the growth.
You're seeing it all come to life in 3.5 months. And I just want to share with you is just like seeing how your life has changed, not only for yourself, but for your family. Because I know family is everything to you. Your girls, your wife. Your wife probably sees you and she's just like, this isn't the same person. But not just your family, the people around you. And sometimes we fail to realize that we're impacting one life. Now, there's all these other people that you don't know and you might not realize that are, hey, what is this guy? Let me get attracted. The girl that we met with before, it's my first time meeting her. I know I impact her life, but I know you impacted her life just by that 10, 15 minutes that you spent with her, but because now you have value. And there's one thing that I could share with you is just like, I am very proud of you that you were able to accept where you were at in life and understand and pivot. Because most people can't pivot because, no, I'm too old. No, it's not for me. No, their ego, their pride. They're like, I don't know. But it's not, real estate's one thing. That's the cool part. But once you mentally are able to overcome and see like, damn, you said it at the beginning, it's a journey. I'm not chasing this instant gratification. Like, I just got to learn to embrace it I got to learn to build relationships. I got to learn to help. And then everything attracts. It becomes a snowball effect. And by the time you know it, oh shit, I got paid. Got paid for this. Let's continue to go. You like talking to people, and start learning your value. And it's just like me knowing you for the past 15 years to where you're at today. It's just like, yeah, you were the salesman. Yeah, we're still salesmen. However, we're not selling. We're helping. We're educating. We're just getting paid to help. We're getting paid to help people. And I think that's a lot of times people take that for granted. And it's just like this comment, and you read the comment right now, but I want to talk about it real quick, is this girl took the time out of her day to comment. And the comment says, you believe you're God, that you provide divine teachings, or are you praying on the low income population of my hometown and capitalizing on their lack of financial literacy? Unclear in your vague and ambiguous self-help videos. I go to this girl's profile and it says, first of all, her name's Kid Kate. She's a kid. World-renowned dragon slayer, storyteller, creative woman. First of all, if you think I'm a god, that's your thought process. Preying on the low-income population of your hometown is, I help people learn their financial literacy. And I think that's a lot of times people don't show up for themselves. If you think that I'm preying on this low income, lack of financial literacy, this is why I host a free Zoom call, free, Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I invite you and anybody else that wants to learn how to move money, how to invest their money, and how money works. Self-help. I'm here to help you too, girl. What are you doing? What are you serving? And at the end of the day, to me, whatever I can do to help you, that's what matters. I want to help you, and I want to help anyone else from your hometown, which is my hometown. And I think that's a lot of the times people miss, that we're here to help. We're here to help. Anybody has the same opportunity. This is the power of living in America. Thank you to everybody that serves. Thank you to your brother. Thank you to all the people that serve, because we all have the same fucking opportunity to wake up every day, show up, and go out there and do something great. People lack that.
Boom. Yeah, I mean, I think that your mission and your path and what you want to accomplish is just so massive. It's in a bigger scale. Your level that you're at right now is just like, some people they can't comprehend that. You can't have a conversation with everybody, right? And I'm realizing that too, not because anybody's better than anybody. And I feel like people fail to realize that now you're comparing me, and it's not about comparisons. It's not about that. It's just like-minded individuals. It comes down to sharing similar goals, similar, everything. Like for me, I'm passionate about sports. Now I'm passionate about this. If we were to talk about football, I could talk about football all day, right? But that doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to you because you're not into football. You know what I mean? So it just comes down to being open-minded. At the end of the day, if you're not into real estate, then that shouldn't be a reason why you wouldn't want to talk to either one of us. But then again, you also have to put yourselves in our shoes, just like how we're talking about that earlier. If you're going to be putting yourself, I feel like people fail to do that, because I did that. I was honest to admit that earlier, that I wouldn't do that. I was just focused on me. And that's the kind of comment that you just read, where it's like, she took it the wrong way. People are going to take things the wrong way, and that's okay. It's like nothing's ever personal here. It's never anything personal. It just comes down to what your goals are. Once you know what your goals are, we can work our way backwards, and that's it. Keep it simple. There's no need to overcomplicate anything ever. If there's ever any kind of friction, you have to remember that you got to just take a breath and then clear it up. Yeah.
Simple. Communication is the biggest thing. Bobby, thank you for investing your time here, bro. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. I'm excited for everything that is to come in the time and what you're doing. I think there's lots. I hate when I say this, or I hate when people say this, but I'm going to say it is like, this is only the beginning. And because the beginning really started when you started, which was back then, your struggles, the starting, the Verizon days. That's when it started. Your journey has already started. Now it just keeps getting better. 1% better every day. Anything else that you'd like to share? I know you had notes, and I wanted to make sure that we talked on them.
I wish we weren't so limited with time, to be honest with you, but it is what it is.
Very, very great, bro.
I do have something. I wrote it down. I just feel like joining initially, you chase the dollar, right? We went over that. And you feel like once you make enough money, you're going to be happy. And people who have money say that money isn't happiness, right? And I think it's very true, because happiness is a state of mind. Even not being where I'm at now, I was very happy, and I still am very happy, because I count the blessings that I have in my house, right? I'm rich in a lot of different ways, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's a message I do want to put out there, is that I just feel like people need to hear that happiness is a state of mind, and you should never really want to compare yourself to anybody ever. I do feel that you are sincerely here to help people out. A lot of people out there from the outside looking in, and especially in the real estate world, but I just feel like who they surround themselves with is what creates the toxic environment. Nobody should ever really talk bad about anybody ever, right? We're nobody to judge ever until you confront that person yourself. And that's what I've realized too. It's that it's never worth talking bad about anybody. You should never waste your breath on something like that. You should only have positive things to say about anybody. And that's it. Because the moment you start putting negative things in your head, you become that. You're consuming that at that point. And now it's just in your head, And everybody gets in their arguments in their house. And, this is something that I'm working on myself, right? With my relationship with my wife, where, we have our little fights and arguments. And I remind myself, I'm like, you know what? Nah, this is nothing. This is as big as a peanut. How big are peanuts?
It's even smaller.
Not even important.
It's not even important.
Happiness is a state of mind. And if you want to be really happy, it starts up here. Get in the right room. Surround yourself with the right people.
Surrounding yourself with the right people, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. I appreciate you investing your time. And I look forward to this growth, which you did in 3.5 months is phenomenal. And I think you just continue to be consistent. Happiness is a choice. We always preach that. And you go out there and be happy and do big things. Make sure you subscribe, you follow, you comment down below what you gain from this. If you gain any value, any questions you guys might have for the one and only Mr. Bobby. And click the link, follow us on all our socials. And let's have an amazing day. Let's grow, baby.